also core values of the Megillah. Now, why does it make sense for those to be the core values of Shavuot and the Megillah? It makes sense because we look at these three things as core Jewish values. And if Shavuot is the Chag, where we're going to rededicate ourselves to Torah, then we need to stop and think about where our priorities are in terms of our own Judaism, and we need to put ourselves in check and work on these areas. I'll tell you a great story that I read. I was reading one of the eulogies that was written by the sons of Rav Amital, who was the Rosh Yeshiva in the Gush. And his son wrote a beautiful eulogy for him that was just published. So that's where I read it. And he tells this beautiful story that his father used to daven Mincha Marav in Yerushalayim. And he used to sit in this shiur in between Mincha Marav that was given by one of the Baal Batim, by one of the members of the community on Mishnah. Now, Rav Amital clearly did not have to sit through this, what must have been basic Mishnah shiur. He could move mountains in terms of the Torah that he knew. So his son once said to him, Abba, how come you sit through this shiur? And Rav Amital gave such a remarkable answer. He said, you know, for years and years, the fellow that gave this shiur, he used to give a daf yomi shiur in the morning. But now he's getting older, and he doesn't have the koach to do that anymore. So he gives this shiur in between Mincha Marav, a short shiur on Mishnayot. And because he held him in such esteem that he felt that he wanted to give him that kavod of sitting in his shiur. And to me, this story is remarkable for two reasons. Number one, of course, as a leader and as a role model, it shows us a beautiful midah of Rav Amital. That again, even though he potentially he could have given that shiur with his eyes closed, he sat and he listened because he said, here's a member of Klal Yisrael. Here is someone who's contributing, and I want to be part of that. And again, look at these three core values. Commitment to Torah learning. Midot, what beautiful midot that, again, he sat and he listened, he gave it his full attention. And achdut, that he said, I might be a Rosh Yeshiva, but there's someone here that's giving a shiur, and I see that I can be connected with that in some way, and that's a positive thing. But I think that there's something else that we can learn from this, and I think that it's something that's particularly appropriate and important for you guys who are sitting at home. If we look at that story, not only from the perspective of Rav Amital, but we reframe it and we look at it from the perspective of the man who gave the shiur, I think we can learn something astounding. That Baal Bayit said, wow, I have something to contribute. I can make a difference in Klal Yisrael. Even though Rav Amital is sitting in the audience, and even though he can give a much stronger shiur than I can, I know that I have something to contribute. I might not be able to do what I used to do, I'm getting older, but I can do something, and it's my responsibility to do something. And to me, that is so inspiring, because as we all head into Shavuot, we need to look in a very real way at our own commitment to Torah, our own commitment to working on our midot, our own commitment to achdut, right? Am I still strong on the things that I had for myself as goals when I was in Israel for the year? Am I taking on new things? Am I constantly reevaluating and reassessing and rededicating myself to my commitment to Torah and Hashem? Am I making sure that I'm working on my midot and that I'm a good person in terms of my kibbud avim, in terms of my chesed that I do in the community, in terms of how some of you are going to be camp counselors, right? You have such an opportunity to work with young children over the summer. What a beautiful place to work for a person to work on their midot. And we have this third area of achdut, that if I'm with people who are not exactly like me, do I look at them and I think, wow, that person also can contribute to the klal? Or do I look at that person and say, wow, that person is such a role model to me, what can I learn from them? But on top of that, I think that as alumni, we need to be proud of ourselves. We need to look at ourselves and say, wait, how can I contribute to Klal Yisrael? How can I go out there and spread Torah ideas and values? How can I use working on my midot to be a role model? How can I have greater achdut? Because all of us have what to contribute. In fact, just to close, I'll leave you with the idea that we know Matan Torah was not given just to the leaders of Bnei Israel. It was given to everyone. Because the message that Hashem's trying to teach us there is that every person is important. Every person can give. Every person can be involved in growth and spreading the beauty of Torah and the beauty of Chesed throughout the world. And so my bracha to everyone is that you should have a Chag that is full of inspiration and renewal, and you should draw strength from it to bring these three ideas of dedication to Torah, Tikkun Hamidot, and Achdut into, that we can all use it to bring those three ideas into our lives in a greater way. Chag Sameach.